Hello and welcome to Co-op Conversations. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is our first time going live on Facebook and YouTube, and we're a little nervous, but we're going to get through this together, okay? I'm Nan McNamara. I'm the Artistic Chair of Actors Co-op, and I've been a member since 1997. Woo, that's a long time. And I am coming to you from the ancestral land of the Chumash, Tongva, and Kizh people. We are so excited to share this evening with you. We also can't wait to see you live in the theater. And we are working on all those details right now. And we hope to be able to share some news with you in the weeks to come of when we will be back in the Crosley and David Shaw Theater. Tonight, we are so excited to bring you a conversation with Broadway veteran Linda Kerns, who is an Actors Co-op member as well. Now, Linda is an amazing talent. She's the recipient of many awards, including 2 LA Weekly Awards, one for her performance in Into the Woods and one for her ensemble performance in the Nibrock trilogy, both of which were actually produced at Actors Co-op, I'll have you know. She also is a director, a writer. She's an adjunct professor with UCLA's Ray Bolger Musical Theater Program. We're going to talk to her tonight about everything from Tommy Tune to Leo and Kate. And I do mean that Leo and Kate, okay? So without further ado, let me introduce to you Linda Kerns.
You are
Linda!
so cute. Hello.
How are you?
You're so cute. I'm good. I'm good. How are
Thank
you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
We have so much to talk about. And I
Okay.
know we normally do this over wine, but tonight it's just going to be water. So
Okay.
that we can have our wits about us.
That's what you think. See this big jug here? You think that's water?
Okay, this is vodka. No, I'm kidding.
Joke. It's a joke.
But we do have a lot to cover because I know your story, and there's so many amazing things that have happened in your life and that continue to happen in your career. So let's just dive right in, okay? I'm stealing a couple of these from interviewers that I love, one of which is Scott Feinberg, who does the Hollywood Reporter Awards chatter. So shout out to Scott Feinberg. First question, where were you born and what did your parents do for a living?
I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and I will not tell you what year. And my dad was a construction engineer. He was building highways when all those super highways were being built, like in the late 50s and the early 60s, and those clover leafs and all this.
Oh, wow.
He was responsible for a lot of that. He was a concrete pourer, apparently like a master at his profession. Who knew?
We have a new driveway. I wish he was here. He could help. We need a new driveway. Anyway.
Well, I don't think he does driveways. Anyway, maybe up in heaven he's doing driveways. I don't know. And what was the other part of that? Oh, my mom. My mom was a homemaker. And then after my father passed away, she went back to work, and she worked 3 jobs. She was a secretary for a paper company, and she was she worked part-time at a department store, which I don't think that department store is even around anymore. And then she was still a homemaker.
Wow.
And mom.
Wow. And that was in Columbus, Ohio?
No. None of that
not.
was in Columbus, Ohio. No. It was all over the country. I was born in Columbus, but I lived in Michigan and then back to Ohio, only a different place in Ohio, and then to Arizona, and then to San Diego, and then to Sacramento, and then to Philadelphia, and then to New York, and then to Los Angeles.
Wow.
It was part of all those highways being built.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we had to move around every couple of years.
So did your parents want you to be an actress? Were they in the arts at all themselves as a hobby? Did they go to the theater?
No. I don't think they got it. I don't think they understood the fascination for me. Well, my father was really quite ill when I started acting in high school. So he wasn't able to see any of the work that I did.
Hmm.
And I think my mother just thought I was a little odd. She's like, who is this child? Because my mother didn't sing or act or any of that. She had gone, her parents had taken her to Broadway plays. When she was a kid, she lived in New Jersey, and they every so often would cross the bridge and go in and see a Broadway show. She happened to see the original Girl Crazy with Ethel Merman, a story I didn't know until years later.
Wow. So obviously you must have had some influences, and I happen to know one of them that you told me. Tell us, who was Mrs. Santee?
Mrs. Santee, to me, Mrs. Santee looked like Snow White. I always thought she was Snow White. She was my kindergarten teacher, and she loved music, and she decided in our kindergarten class she was going to have us put on a little play called The Little White Rabbit Who Wanted Red Wings, which is still out there. I have a copy of it. I don't know if anybody has ever done it in the last 50 years, but and she decided she wanted to have the kindergarten class put on this play. And since I was the only kid in kindergarten who could sing, I got to play the lead. Yay!
Wow. And what was that like? Do you remember being in front of people for the first time in that way?
Yeah, I remember it like it was last week. It was all the parents sitting on those metal folding chairs, which are so comfortable on your behind. And I was in white knee socks and a white t-shirt and white shorts, because I was a bunny. Bunnies are white. And I had pink wings with red glitter on them that Georgie Kenny Kohler's mother had made. And I came out on the stage and we did the play. And when it was all done, I came out and I took my little bow, and that was it. I was forever. And from that moment on, I was going to be an actor. That was what I wanted to do.
So you knew at 5 that you wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
But you actually didn't have any opportunity to do any plays until your senior year in high school, or later in high school?
Yeah, it was my senior year in high school. Yeah, I did The Skin of Our Teeth my senior year in high school. My drama teacher was very, lifted up and didn't do musicals. He did classic plays like The Glass Menagerie and,
wow.
Skin
I
of Our
bet he
Teeth.
would have something to say now about you and musicals.
Yes, I'm sure he would. Lord knows what it would be. But yeah, it was my senior year in high school was really between kindergarten and my senior year in high school, there was nothing.
So
I sang, but
yeah. Did you know you were a good singer?
Yeah, I was more secure as a singer than I was as an actor. Mm-hmm. And I think that's still true. I'm very comfortable singing. I haven't been singing very much in the last couple of years, with a pandemic and teaching. I don't sing as much when I teach. Mm-hmm. I tend to shy away from just demonstrating things by singing them. Yeah. I don't know what the rest of that question was.
Well, you answered it. So you went to Temple University. Mm-hmm. And what was your major?
Music education.
Okay.
I wanted to major in either drama or in just straight music, not music education. But my mother wanted me to have something to fall back on.
Oh, yes. Mothers are like that.
So, yes, they are. And so I was a music ed major. And truthfully, I found a lot of my education courses a lot of them, not all of them, kind of worthless, because it all seemed to me to be very common sense. And I think I'd been watching teachers since I was young. Mm-hmm. And I got what teachers did.
Right.
And I had thought maybe I would be a teacher at some point. So I already knew a lot of that stuff.
So, but there was an elective that you took I think it was when you were a senior in college.
Yeah.
And what class was that?
It was Intro to Drama.
Uh-oh.
We weren't allowed to take electives because music education majors had so many requirements. And finally, my senior year, I had room for an elective. And I decided to take Intro to Drama. And it brought back all of those feelings of the 5-year-old me and made me really want to do it for real. And I kind of shocked my mother by going home and saying, "Would you mind if I didn't finish my last year of college?"
How many classes did you have left when you left school, when you left Temple?
Oh, this is sort of embarrassing. I had left to take acoustics, advanced 19th century keyboard harmony, and my student teaching.
Well, I think that shows how strongly you felt about being an actor. I mean, that clearly, with all of that left. So what happened? And there was somebody from your high school that influenced you in your next steps. What did you do?
Well, yeah, when I left.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, Melanie Mayron, wonderful actress that some of you will remember from 30 something, and she's a director now. Melanie was a year ahead of me in high school, and she was like the neighborhood girl who went to the big city and became a famous actress.
She went to New York.
And so I ended up applying to 2 schools, the Neighborhood Playhouse, who didn't even want to interview me, and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is where Melanie had gone prior to her study with Lee Strasberg. And I decided to audition for the American Academy, and lo and behold, they took me. But Melanie had something to do with that, in just in the mere fact that she had gone there. And
yeah. What were your takeaways from, if you can bullet point it into a couple of things, what was the biggest takeaway from the American Academy?
Oh, golly, I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of them, I think a lot of the smaller ones all added up to one big one. For me, it was to live on the stage without fear. And just to trust myself, to trust my instincts, and not try to second guess myself into making it better, but go ahead and do what instinctually was there and allow the director to, weave the way around and make it better.
And it's one of those things that we continue in our years as we've continued in this profession. It's something you constantly are working at, right?
Right. Constantly working at not working.
Yeah.
Constantly working at just letting go of it.
Right.
And doing the homework and then letting go of it, not manipulating it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're done with school.
Mm-hmm.
And you've graduated, and now you're in New York City. How did you manage to live there, to, put down roots? What was it? How did you afford it?
Well, initially I afforded it. I afforded my second year of acting school, and my first little studio apartment, and a pair of contact lenses and a stereo, by being on the $10,000 pyramid.
You were on the pyramid.
I was on the pyramid.
You won.
And I won $10,000.
Okay. And who was your partner?
Larry Linville. Larry Linville, who used to play Frank Burns on MASH.
On MASH.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would imagine he was very good at this game.
Yes. Yeah, he was. He was very good at it. He was great at giving clues, and he was just a really smart guy. Yeah.
Wow. So I think he's passed, I think.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Larry Linville, for helping Linda Kerns set up shop in New York City. So you're a young, out of school, you got $10,000 in your pocket.
Well, actually, after taxes, only 8, but that's
Right.
okay.
Okay. So now is it just hitting the pavement, as they say, and reading about
Yeah.
auditions and getting in line? Tell us about that, because a lot of
Yeah,
people,
I
I
think
think, forget about that's how it works in the theater.
Yeah, I think it's a little different now. When I started, it was really a matter of, unless you had an agent, and if you were just starting out, you probably didn't have an agent. Um, it was a matter of getting the trade papers backstage and show business, which is now defunct as I
Showbiz.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, showbiz. And looking at the breakdowns, but not in the sense that we know breakdowns now, but just casting notices and just going to open calls for things, going to any audition and every audition, anything
Hmm.
that there was even remotely a role for me in, I
Hmm.
went to.
Wow. And how did you get your equity card?
Um, I
This
got my
is for
equity.
those of you that don't know, Actors Equity is the union that governs actors on the professional stage. So,
Right. Yes. And initially, when I got out of school, I didn't want my equity card. I wanted to get some experience under my belt first before I tried to go out and compete with people who already had their cards. Because those are people that are usually more experienced.
mhm.
Um, so I did a couple of really lousy shows and decided I didn't want to be treated badly anymore. And that was about a year and a half after I graduated. So I decided to pursue my equity card, and I got cast in a children's theater tour of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And I played Aunt Sally. And yeah, 7 actors and a set in a van with the stage manager driving.
Up and
And
down.
9 up and down the East Coast, and 9 a.m. shows. And yeah, and then drive and drive and drive and drive.
And that show would come back to you in a different form later in your career. But let's jump to 1982.
1982, yes.
Well, actually, it might have been a little bit later than that. But let's talk about 9 and your experience with your first Broadway show and originating a role in the musical 9. How did that come
That
about?
was 1982. We started the
Was it?
workshop. We did the
Okay.
workshop in the fall, like November, I think, of 81.
Okay.
And then we, through a series of just ridiculous stories, we finally opened on Broadway May 9th of 1982. So we're coming up on our
You're 40?
big 40th anniversary.
That's
Is that 40
crazy.
years? 40th anniversary. Yeah.
So 9 was an open call, right?
Yes. They had initially 9 was written for both men and women, and they weren't finding the men that they wanted. So Tommy Tune decided to change the concept
I'm
and make
sorry.
it
Who was
all
that again?
Tommy Tune.
Oh, yeah, Tommy
Remember?
Tune.
Yes.
I've heard of
The
him.
tall guy. The tall guy. He says he's 6'18",
And
or
Linda, just
5'18".
5'18". And just as a side note, an open call, for those that don't know, an open call is anybody can come. There's how many people were at the call? 250, 300 people?
250 women were
Okay.
at the call. Yeah. And myself and an actress by the name of Rita Wren were the 2 people that were hired from that call.
Wow.
It was one of those get up at 4 in the morning, go down and sign up and go home and put your makeup on and warm up and then come back downtown and sing your little 16 bars and go home,
And you went home and you got a call.
Yeah, to come back and sing an opera aria. They wanted people who could sing in foreign languages. And so I came back and sang a Mozart aria, which, being a classical singer came in really handy at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
And we were told to dress in black and sing something in a foreign language. And then, yeah, I got the show, and I was sort of mystified. I remember just listening to Barry Moss, the casting director, on the phone. God bless him. He's passed now too. But I remember him telling me that I'd gotten the show, and I was like, "Are you sure? Would you like check your list again?" You know, I was like, "I don't think that's right. Would you look again?" And it was right.
So 9 opens on Broadway with Raul Julia and Linda Kerns and many other wonderful actors. It runs for, I believe the total number of performances was 729.
Was it?
We determined you were in about 700 of those performances. Tell me what is that like as an actor to be in a run that long? How do you keep yourself, sharp and going, and what is the process?
Well, I think it's different for everybody, and it's different depending on the kind of role that you're doing. My main task in this show was to be a singer, so that just meant keeping my voice in shape. But if I wanted to be more than a singer, which I did, it meant paying attention to the acting sides of it too. And it's difficult to do a run that long. You have times that you kind of dip a little bit.
Sure.
Where you'll go through a couple of weeks where you feel like you're having to work really, really hard to get your energy up.
Yeah.
And then you pass that point, or you trick yourself during that point and pretend Hal Prince is in the audience every night. And then that passes and you get on the other side of it, and it just becomes, it's like any job. It just becomes, this is what I do. This is what I do. Only I work at night and you work during the day.
Right. And tell me, it won the Tony. It actually won 5 Tonys, including Best Musical. Mr. Toon won as well. What was it like working with Tommy Tune?
He's incredibly talented. I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, a dancer, a singer, an actor. And there's a picture with Raul.
Oh, yeah.
And that little boy in the corner there, who is now a 40-year-old man and has 3 children and a normal job. Tommy was great. He's he takes a lot of what he does as a director from inspiration. He kind of waits to be inspired, and sometimes he won't say anything for the longest time. You have no idea if what you're doing is what he wants or not. You just, again, have to trust yourself and keep going and doing what you're doing, and wait until somebody says, "No, I don't want you to do that."
Yeah. Well, he clearly knows what he's doing. Linda, I'm going to show a picture. I'm not sure. I think this is also from 9.
Yes. Yes, it is. Those are my 3 comrades. I'm in the back there with the enormous round angel thing head. And those are my 3 other comrades. We were the 4 Germans at the spa. And and we're still in touch, actually.
Oh, that's wonderful.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the night that you guys won the 5 Tonys, you got to perform at the Tonys that year.
Right. We performed at the Tony Awards, which was very exciting, of course.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember standing backstage, and I'll never forget this moment. Robert Preston was standing backstage next to me.
Oh,
and Harold Hill. And I was, oh my gosh, this is like, he's one of the reasons I became a musical theater actor.
Yeah.
And he actually, I had been standing backstage next to him during the Tony Awards as well. So we had a very long relationship. And we performed on the Tony Awards, and then we went backstage. We had a live feed. Our theater was back to back with the theater where the awards were being held that night. So we finished our number and rushed backstage to our theater and went down into the basement and watched the live feed of the rest of the show. And of course, hooting and hollering and screaming all the way when we
Yeah.
won the Tony Award. Yeah.
Now, at this point, your mother must have been just so proud of you. She got to see the show on opening night, right?
She did. She got to see the show on opening night, and she saw it one more time during the run. I was understudying Saragina, the B Italian role.
Oh, I love that song.
She got to see me go on for that role.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't think until opening night of 9, she thought her daughter was going to be able to take care of herself. You know, I always knew I'd be able to take care of myself, you know, and I was like, always, if worst comes to worst, I go, you know, work at a newsstand or work at McDonald's or whatever, you know, to survive. That's what you do when you want to be an actor. You know, you live in early orange crate furniture and you take jobs that you don't necessarily want because you have to do it to survive.
Yeah.
So I worked part-time at Columbia University and as a secretary. And then the rest of the time I went on auditions. But mom wasn't too sure of the whole thing, I think.
But pretty quickly, Linda, you know, you were in that show for quite a while. And then you jumped into, there was a little bit of a gap of doing some shows across the country. You did Guys and Dolls with Faith Prince and Davis Gaines, and you did The Wizard of Oz, which would also come back to you. And I want to make sure that we get all of this in. So quickly, Big River, let's jump to Big River. Big River was already opened. It was on Broadway.
Right.
And you went in as a swing. And I would love for you to explain what that means. So you're back on Broadway, your second Broadway show. And you're a swing. What?
Well, the thing with that was that I had been up for the original company. And it was between me and one other woman, and she ended up getting it. And so I went in about 3 or 4 months after the show opened to replace somebody. And I was the swing. And the swing means you understudy X number of roles. Like usually it's all of the female roles if you're the female swing. And so I understudied everything except Mary Jane Wilkes, the ingenue, because I was clearly not an ingenue. So I understudied Aunt Sally and the Widow Douglas and the Strange Lady and Strange Woman and the Two Sisters.
And you have to be ready to go on at any given moment in any of those roles.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes in the middle of a performance. That hasn't happened to me in the middle of a performance. It happened to me at Curtain one night. But I have seen it happen to people where the actress playing the lead role got sick in the middle of the show and the understudy had to go on.
Wow.
So the understudy is different than a swing. An understudy just understudies specific roles.
Right.
And a swing understudies all the ensemble roles.
Right. So Big River leads us to, after Big River, there's another little show that some of us have heard of. That was where you did the national tour and you toured for a year. What was the name of that show again?
Let me see. Oh, it's like The Miserables or something like that.
Les Miserables. That's it.
Les Miserables.
Yeah.
Or Les Mis, as it's known in common parlance.
And you toured the country for a year.
A year. Yeah.
Wow. And you were
there were people on that tour who did it for much longer than I did. There were people who stayed in that tour for 2 and 3 years.
Wow.
I couldn't do it. I was losing my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me just one quick favorite moment from the Les Mis tour. On stage or off.
Oh, golly. Well, off stage was meeting a cute guy in one of the cities. He decided he was my fan, and we went out to dinner. Anyway, it didn't work, but there's my love life. So what a favorite moment from Les Mis?
Was there a song that you all, like when you all are singing, na, 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 I mean, is that just like, woo, I'm in this
Madame
show.
Thénardier and Monsieur Thénardier, you know, the innkeeper and his wife, they don't get to sing. those
Oh,
great
they don't sing
anthem
those
songs.
big numbers. Okay, yeah,
No,
that
they
makes
sing
sense.
Master of the House.
They sing Master of the House.
So,
Well, that
so
must have been fun.
it was absolutely fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. And throwing props all over the stage. I mean, it was great.
yeah, yeah. Now, clearly, you're not standing in line anymore to get auditions, to get seen. You have an agent. You're getting sent out. I know you did the backers audition for Smoke on the Mountain, which was an off-Broadway play that we might come back to that. But you did do quite a bit of that run. And then you decided you wanted to move to Los Angeles. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
I sort of was feeling at the time like theater in New York wasn't theater as I'd known it. That probably doesn't, it's not real clear what I mean by that, but it is to me. Theater was becoming more of a venue for TV and film actors,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and many of whom hadn't been trained in theater at all. So there were some real bad choices made of people to be in plays. And I was having trouble getting seen for straight plays. I could get seen for a musical, but I wasn't getting seen for straight plays because people used to look at your resume. It's not this way so much now, but people used to look at your resume and see that you did musicals and assume that you couldn't act. So they would automatically put your resume to the side and they would only call you in if they were desperate. So being seen for a straight play wasn't going to happen. And as that became more and more clear and more of the musicals were being cast with television stars, I got kind of frustrated and said, well, one of the actresses in Smoke on the Mountain, who was also the writer, Connie Ray, said she was going to go out to Los Angeles for pilot season. Why didn't I think about doing that? And I was like, pilot season, what's that? And so I went ahead and hopped in my mother's old Honda that she'd sold me for $1 and drove across the country and thought I'd be here 6 weeks. And that was, I don't know, that was in 1991. So I've stayed longer than 6 weeks, I think.
Well, and I know when we chatted before, you talked about you wanted to do a sitcom, but then you realized you really wanted to do LA Law.
Oh, yeah. I want to do a sitcom so bad.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to do guest spots on like Frasier and Murphy Brown and stuff, on well-known great sitcoms, but never a consistent role. I would love to have a consistent role as the wacky next door neighbor on a sitcom. But I realized while I was searching out that sitcom that I really wanted to be on LA Law.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Hill Street Blues.
Oh,
or,
yeah. Classic. Classic.
Those wonderful dramatic shows.
But you were on many. You did Numbers, you did The Guardian, you've done Without a Trace, you did The Practice. But I want to jump to a little film that many of us know and saw, and it's a little film called Titanic. Tell us about Titanic.
That little film.
Yeah. And as much as you can, I'm going to show some photos as you're chatting. Tell us about this experience.
That was the day that I felt like I'd died and gone to heaven.
Oh.
Working with Jim and the actor in the center there is named Brian Walsh. And that's me, obviously, over on the left. And we were staging Brian's fall down the deck of the ship as the ship tilts, and my character trying to hang on to him and keep him from falling. It was very dramatic and screamy and yelly, and it was great. It was a great moment for me.
And initially, Linda, you were only supposed to be on the film for a day. And how long did it end up, or two? How long did you end up on the film?
4 months. Yeah,
Wow.
I was supposed to be out there a couple of days, and then what's called a drop pickup. So they don't have to pay you for all that time. So a couple of days, and then I'd have a drop, and then I'd come back at some point and do like maybe a week. And it was really just supposed to be seeing me die. I wish I had a picture of me frozen to death in the water. But if you remember the lady whose eyeballs were frozen open and she gets pulled out of the water.
I just happen to have.
Oh my gosh, where did you get that? Yeah.
I have my ways.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what do you
there
remember
go.
about that moment? About being in, you must have been in real water.
We were in a huge water tank the size of a soundstage. And with lots of frostbitten makeup on. And I had on special contact lenses to make my eyes look like that.
Wow.
And you couldn't see much wearing those contact lenses. It was sort of like walking through a cloud. I had to be led around a little bit.
How many takes do you remember, Mr. Cameron?
Oh, I don't remember. He liked to do a lot of takes of things. So, but I don't really remember how many there were of that.
Titanic was nominated, for those that forget, it was nominated for 14 Academy Awards. It won 11, including Best Picture and Best Director. What, Linda, is your biggest takeaway from working with James Cameron?
You know, if people have given Jim, pardon me, a
Jim,
bad rap.
Yes,
Jim.
I call him James, but you should call him Jim.
I call him Jim.
Yes.
Give him a bad rap sometimes because he's very perfectionistic, and he can lose his temper because he wants something and he knows what he wants, and if he doesn't get it, he loses his temper. And if you can understand that and not take it personally and know that it's about wanting the film to be better, you learn a lot. He's very brilliant, and I just learned a lot just listening to him and watching him, and you never know who you're going to meet on a film that's going to teach you something.
Yeah.
So it's about remaining open, I think.
Yeah, that was a question from James Helsing, one of our viewers tonight. He also
I know
asked,
James Helsing. Hi, James.
Hi, James. James also asks, how did he talk to you, director to actress?
It was less about anything emotional or anything, in terms of the emotional preparation of an actor, and more about staging for the camera. More about what he wanted to see within the shot.
So he trusted you to do that work, the work that an actor does when, they're on a shoot, when they're working on a character.
And I think that has something to do with why I ended up on film for as long as I did.
I'm sure it did.
Because I felt like even though I had a very small role in the film, I wanted to make it complete. I wanted to build a complete person. And I think maybe he saw that and wanted to have me continue to put that out there. Yeah, yeah.
What a thrill that must have been.
It was quite amazing doing a film that's it's become a part of movie history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I got to work on some of the voice work for Avatar. And learned how to speak that language Na'vi.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
And they're busy, John Landau and James Cameron are busy making more avatars as we speak down in New Zealand.
Wow. Wow. Well, I think they should get you down there.
That's a good idea. All right.
Yeah, right.
Dress me in blue and put me in front of a green screen. Okay.
Yes. I want to jump now to 2006. And
2006.
I know you did Beauty and the Beast. You did the LA Company of Beauty and the Beast. But in 2006, I'm struck by the iconic shows that have come to you. That those. We were talking about those Holy Spirit moments. It's so wonderful.
Wild, right? It's wild.
And in 2006, let's talk about Wicked. Tell me who called you. Someone called you in
Stephen
2006.
Schwartz called
Stephen
me.
Schwartz called you.
Stephen Schwartz called me. I had done, at that point, I'd done a movie called Geppetto. It was a TV movie starring Drew Carey, and Stephen Schwartz had written the music for it. And when it came time for him to put together a single workshop performance of Wicked, which was going to be done for the executives at Universal, a mutual friend, Marty Erskine, said to Stephen, well, why don't you call Linda? And he did. Hi, this is Stephen Schwartz. Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody knows
him.
Stephen Schwartz
Wrote Godspell
wrote
and
Godspell.
Pippin and
Wicked.
Wicked and writes, wonderful songs all the time and is incredibly talented and a nice person. So there you go. It happens. You can be talented and be a nice person at the same time.
But this moment came to you from like three different veins of your life, of past shows and people that knew. And this person had been your rehearsal accompanist, and this person had been.
Oh, right.
Such an amazing. Yeah.
A guy named Michael Cosrin had been the rehearsal accompanist, like straight off the boat, moved to New York. The rehearsal accompanist for 9, like back in like 1982. He helped me get Beauty and the Beast. He was the conductor for Beauty and the Beast. And he was at my audition and remembered me, and which is, always nice to have someone remember you in a positive framework.
Of course.
And he's the one that was responsible for Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
And then I worked with both him and Stephen Schwartz on other projects where I got to be a background singer or something like that.
And Linda, I know you were in the ensemble in the LA Company, but you also went on as Madame Morrible.
Madame Morrible, right. I was understudying Madame Morrible. At the time, it was Carol Kane. And I'm forever grateful that I got to go on as many times as I did.
There you
Carol
are,
was gracious
lovely,
enough to let me go on.
Lovely Madame Morrible.
The lovely Madame Morrible.
I got to see you twice. I got to see you do this as well.
Giving birth to the green baby.
Yeah, the green baby.
Baby Elphaba.
What was the? How long was the makeup process when you would get to the theater?
It was it was so
all
short.
Smoke and mirrors, right? It wasn't that bad.
It was so short.
Yeah.
That is actually, maybe I shouldn't give away any secrets, but the show's been running so long now that that's actually a rubber head mask, half mask.
Okay.
With this huge hairpiece attached to it.
Wow.
And so all I would have to do is put on my regular makeup and black lipstick and then pull this cap on. And I was the GNU.
The GNU.
I called her GNU.
And then this looks like it's maybe more involved then.
Yes. Yeah, that was a long process. Yeah. That was a long process because, if you can tell by the way the makeup's painted on, my eyebrows are halfway up my forehead.
Did you have someone that did that for you, or did you have to?
No.
You had to do it yourself.
Right. We each had to learn the fancy schmancy makeup and how to do it ourselves.
Wow.
And I actually loved doing it because it was really kind of a moment to calm down, 20 minutes, half an hour of makeup, and just a chance to focus and be calm and centered, for what was to come. Yeah.
Biggest takeaway from that show, from doing that show, something you learned that you think, I learned that in Wicked.
Oh, golly. I know I've mentioned this before, and I think I relearned this because it's one of the hardest things for me personally is not to be afraid, to be fearless. And it's hard for me to be fearless because I always second guess myself and I always wonder if what I did was good enough, and was that funny enough, and was that, and I'm always nitpicking at myself, and I have to really force myself to not do that.
Yeah.
And I was really when I went on in Wicked, the performances I went on for Madame Morrible, and really focused on not being fearful and on not giving up my power, were the times that I had the most joyous performances.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so true for all of us as actors. When we can really be free and, really be in a place where, you're just allowing the story to be told and you're not getting in its way and you're not conscious of, that guy over there is whispering to his girlfriend or, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But it does seem to be, as we were chatting earlier, it does seem to be a getting up every day and remembering that is.
Yeah, I think it's different. I think everybody has their own little bugaboo.
Yeah.
Every actor has their little thing that gets in their way.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the second guessing, the insecurity,
Right.
So that creates fear, and then everything explodes from that.
Yeah.
So if I can keep that fear under wraps and remind myself that I do know what I'm doing, and if I don't, somebody will tell me,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm okay.
Yeah.
But if I sit there and I try to figure it out myself, I just get all tied up in knots.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to exclude your time at Actors Co-op because you have been on the stage many times at Actors Co-op. I was fortunate enough to be in a musical with you, Something's Afoot. I have a couple of photos from that.
Oh, David Shaw.
Yes, David Shaw.
David was one of the founders of Actors Co-op. He passed away a few years ago. Wonderful man. And
this beautiful lady. These beautiful ladies, I should say.
No, Elaine Welton Hill. Wonderful, wonderful actress. Just stunningly talented. And unfortunately, she passed away from cancer. Gosh, we're showing pictures of a lot of people who aren't with us anymore.
I know. But this lady's still here.
I think that's me.
That is you. That's from
I loved doing that show.
Sea Rock City.
Right. Part of the Nibrock trilogy that Beth Blinks wrote. Arlene Hutton.
Yes.
Arlene Hutton. There were 2 of those 3 plays that I was in. Sea Rock City, which you directed, actually.
That's right.
And Gulfview Drive, which Marianne Sable directed. And both of those were just unique experiences because those plays are so wonderful and really gave me a chance to dig in deep as an actor.
Rob Martin has a question. I'm sorry, let me just find it here. Why have you chosen to be involved in Actors Co-op?
I think I've been involved with co-op since 94. And I think initially I was looking for some kind of theatrical home. I'd only been out here a couple of years. And I was looking for a theatrical home, someplace I could sort of get to know more people and maybe do some theater if there wasn't any film or television happening. And I chose Actors Co-op to audition for because, well, for 2 reasons. The very practical reason was, and I hate to admit this, but I saw that they were going to do Into the Woods, and I really wanted to audition for Into the Woods, which then later I ended up doing. But I really wanted to audition for Into the Woods, and Actors Co-op was doing it, so I thought, I got to become a company member.
Whatever gets you through the door, right?
Exactly. And also because it's a Christian company, and because I'm a church-going gal, and I believe in God, and I think that our work is an extension of who we are as human beings, and that includes all aspects of us. Mm-hmm. And so the co-op gives me a chance to practice my faith and to practice my acting.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I want to show another photo here.
Oh,
I think this is just not too long before the pandemic hit. This is
right,
Spitfire
right,
Grill at the Gary Marshall. And
right. I
uh,
I've done this show several times now in different roles. I've played Effie, the woman with the accordion, a couple of times, and I played the leading woman whose name escapes me at the moment.
at the
Um,
co-op, at Actors Co-op, you played that.
right at Actors Co-op. I wasn't very good in that role,
Sure you were.
but
I was
no,
there.
I could be better. I could be better. Anyway, I love this show. And I love what the show says. And this production was unique because Dimitri Toscas had us playing instruments as well as acting and singing and everything else you do in a musical. And I had to learn how to play the accordion in very short order because I went in to replace somebody who had had to drop out of the production. And
I
it was
think you
a
only had
quick.
like 3 or 4 days to learn how to play it, right?
No, no, I had about a week and a half to learn how
Okay.
to play it.
Okay, that feels
And
like about three
since
or
I
four
was
days.
since since I was already a piano player, the keyboard part of it wasn't too difficult. And if you watch my other hand there, you can see I'm not pressing on any of those other keys. It was, yeah, we cheated a lot playing that accordion.
Well, you still, I mean, I think about the number of instruments that you have learned to play or just know how to play, and language. You said you had to sing in a foreign language for 9. What was the language
Right.
that you had to learn or
I
that you
chose
knew?
I knew an Italian
You knew Italian,
aria from
okay.
my time at school.
But
So
you
yeah.
know accordion, you've had to learn stand-up bass, auto harp,
Yeah.
uh, trumpet.
A little bit of trumpet, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I played French horn in high school, and I played clarinet in junior high. When I was a when I was a music education major at Temple University, we had what were called TIMs, and it was instrumental methods courses. And you kind of had to learn the basics of each instrument and
Okay.
be able to play a couple of scales and stuff. So some of those instruments I'm really not good on. A couple of them I am pretty good on. But, like if you ask me to play upright bass, I'd have to like put little pieces of tape on the thing to show where my fingers were supposed to
Hey.
go. It wouldn't be pretty.
I want to jump in the time that we have left. I want to jump to some of the great questions from our viewers. Cassie Menke asks, if you could do any tech position for a week, what job would you want to try? It's a great question.
If I could do any tech position for a week, what job would I want to try? I'd want to try lighting. I
Ah,
need to, I feel like
what
I want
woman
to
doesn't
know
want good
more.
lighting?
There you go. Pink gels, please. I feel like I need to know more about lighting. As a director, I need to know more. And so
Hmm.
I'd love to be somebody's lighting apprentice on a show.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's out there and wants an apprentice, give me a call.
Another one just from Cassie. Best advice you have ever been given, or that you would give?
The best advice I've ever been given. Just never give up. You're going to hear no more times than you hear yes. I think I used to have a book that I filled all my auditions in. And
Oh,
I think I counted 100 auditions between the closing of 9 and the beginning of my next show. And it got more and more discouraging, but you can't give up, because just when you're going to give up is when the miracle happens and you get a job. I think that, and I think also the thing I was talking about fear is don't let fear stand in your way.
great advice. Carolyn Carruthers asks, do you have a favorite on-stage moment? Something that
Carolyn
stands out.
Carruthers. Hi, Carolyn Carruthers, a very talented lady. Yeah, I do. And it's not a moment that anybody would probably think this would be the moment. But when I was doing Les Mis, there was a wonderful actor playing Marius, and his name was Matt Peretta. And we had one little eye to eye moment and one little line exchange late in the second act. And I always looked forward to that moment because he was always so present. And if I was out somewhere with my brain someplace else, the minute he looked at me, I was back in the play. And he was so strong. And just that little exchange of a couple of lines was just wonderful.
Yeah. James, I would love to know this too. Working with Ms. Lansbury, Angela Lansbury, what was that like? What was the takeaway from that?
Oh, wow. What was the takeaway from that? That experience in Mrs. Santa Claus was just heavenly. Rob Marshall was the choreographer, and he was just he was just starting out, I think, in the world of film. And he was choreographing. I don't think he'd directed any films yet. And Jerry Herman wrote the score for that. So I got to work with Jerry Herman and then with Angela Lansbury. And what was the takeaway?
Three. I mean, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if I can think of one particular thing that was a takeaway from it. Just because that was a wonderful experience, to have 3 weeks on a film and get to actually have a character that you develop and that is present in the movie was great.
And they're all, I would assume, such pros. I mean, Angela Lansbury is the consummate professional.
Absolutely.
What part, Tris Beasley? Oh, Tris Beasley, what part? This is a great question. What part would you like to play next?
Oh,
we talked a little bit. What's your bucket list, baby?
Now that I'm getting older, and there are a lot of roles that people said when I was younger I was going to get to play when I got to be in my 50s, and I haven't gotten to play them. And I think some of them I'm a little too old for now. I think I'm too old for it, but I'd still love to do Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd.
I don't think you're too old. No.
Anyway,
I wish the co-op could do Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. What a great musical. Anything Sondheim. That's what I'd like to do next. Anything Sondheim. I'd love to do a little night music and play the grandmother who sits in the wheelchair the whole show, which is a lovely thing. You just have people wheel you around. You don't have to remember your blocking. And I said, anything Sondheim. I would kill to do anything Sondheim.
Yeah. Another question real quick. We just have a few minutes left. Jerry Fisher says, thanks for sharing your wonderful experiences. Can you share about your position as adjunct professor in UCLA's Ray Bolger Musical Theater Program?
I teach singing to the undergraduates, sophomores, juniors, seniors. And I also teach, depending on the quarter, because we're on the quarter system, depending on the quarter, I'll teach acting for musical theater, or I'll teach singing for musical theater, for singing for actors, for not musical theater people, but for actors who are scared to death and think they can't sing, and they usually can, but they just have to get over being scared to death.
There's that theme. It's a theme of the evening.
It is, I guess. I forget what I was. Oh, let's see. Adjunct. What else? What else can I share about that? I work a lot individually with kids, which is great. I call them kids. They're 19 and 20 and 21. To me, they're kids. And work individually in private singing lessons with them. And my big thing there is to teach people to sing to where they can do 8 shows a week and not kill their voices.
Right.
Not be left having to take performances off because they can't get through 8 shows a week.
Right. Yeah.
Healthy singing.
We're just about ready to wrap it up. Is there anything that you want to say that I didn't ask?
Oh, golly. I don't think so. I mean,
Well,
I love what I do, and I love the Actors Co-op, and I just want to keep doing this. I just want to keep acting, you know? It doesn't matter if it's a huge project or the movie Titanic again. I just want to keep acting. That's all.
that's wonderful. All right, I just have to do this in these last 30 seconds. We're going to do the classic quick answer James Lipton end
Oh,
of the
no.
show questions.
Oh,
What is your
no.
favorite word?
Potato head.
What is your least favorite word?
Fear, since we're on that theme.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
What turns me on creatively is to work with other actors and to work with good actors.
What
That's
turns
what turns me on creatively.
What turns you off?
Working with people who don't do their homework.
This next one I might have to forego because what's your favorite curse word? But
I can't say it.
okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, gee, what sound or noise do I love? The sound of a full orchestra playing a Broadway show overture.
Oh, that's wonderful. What sound or noise do you hate?
Just traffic noise. Loud, icky traffic noise.
This was also a question from Eva Abramian. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, golly. You know, I don't know. I've been asking myself that very question lately because I think it's time for me to find a new venue to work in. So, Ava, I'll have to think about that one and get back to you.
What profession would you not like to do?
Anything where people treat you with disrespect.
And finally, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You made it.
Well, Linda, thank you so much for sharing this time with us.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
It was so lovely. Thank you to all of you viewing and all your wonderful questions. I'm sorry that we didn't get to all of them. What a wonderful evening. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be back here Monday, August 23rd, when we interview Broadway veteran Thomas James O'Leary, who, among many other things, was the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera, and also a wonderful director. I want to just give a couple of quick shout outs. Special thanks to Susanna Vaughn, to Lindsay Schnebley, and to Townsend Coleman. And thank all of you, and thank you, Linda, and thank all of you for watching. And have a great evening, and we'll see you hopefully very soon in the theater. Bye-bye.
Bye.